Hey guys, Desletter Magic here, and I just wanted to make you aware of a giant wizard screw up. And this is like literally lawsuit worthy. If somebody wanted to bother, and there's some motivated people who have lost a lot of money over this, this would be in and out of court so quick as a class action. Usually class actions take years, but not this one. Oh no, they would just settle. They wouldn't even defend this. And then they would just probably take the statutory FTC penalty that would be very shortly after the lawsuit, because then they smell blood. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about this on screen, this amazing looking die, the Kaldheim D20. According to Wizard's own words, this is in the bundle as an enlarged die, like an extra large D20, and then a, quote, smaller version of the die is in the pre-release kit. They said that. In fact, the article still says it. People have written in to support saying, hey, my product doesn't have what you said it has in it, and support is linking them to the article that still says it comes with, quote, well, this pack contains the same cool spin down as the bundle, only smaller. It still says that. And people are opening these pre-release kits and saying, it does not. And then, like I said, writing into Wizard support and saying, it does not come with this die. This is like the reason I bought it. And all they're getting is like some automated cookie cutter link that says, here's what was supposed to be in it. You're wrong. To which everybody's replying, bitch, I got eyes. This ain't the same die. What do you think, I'm stupid? So people are fuming over this, and it's not just like, oh, they wanted the pretty die. And it's certainly not a case of, oh, they assumed the pre-release kit would have the same D20, because it always does, but in this case it did not. Oh, no. Wizards, like I said, put on the spec list, this pack contains the same cool spin down as the bundle, only smaller. I mean, they even said the cool spin down, in case you're confused about which one. The cool looking one. They'd almost be looking at like statutory damages on top of the value difference that they'd have to pay back. So to compare this to like another famous story, the NVIDIA GTX 970 lawsuit. NVIDIA and the people who assemble the cards said, GTX 970s have 4 gigs of VRAM. So everybody who bought it expected that they'd have 4 gigs of VRAM. Well, they do, but 512 of it, so half a gig of it, was like separated for, I don't know, OpenCL commands, couldn't be used as a frame buffer, couldn't be used to hold textures, and it only had like a single 64-bit interface to it instead of the full 256 or 128 or whatever the hell 192 I think is what the 970 was. Yeah, 3 lanes of 64. That was weird. But anyway, I bought one, and then I actually built my friend's computer that had a 970. So when the lawsuit notification came around and they said, hey, you may have bought one or more of these. How many did you buy? If you claim it's more than 4, you got to prove it by uploading the invoice. Otherwise, we'll take your word for it, which, okay, I'm an honest person. I didn't lie. I said, yeah, I bought 2. And then it said, do you want to upload optional proof? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll upload the invoice PDFs. Why not? And then, yeah, I mean, this was like 4 years after I bought it. That's when they finally settled the damn lawsuit. And by settled, I mean, NVIDIA lost, because it, according to the court and according to the findings and according to lots and lots of back and forth from experts, did not have 4 gigs of usable VRAM. It had 3.5, and the other were reserved for things virtually unrelated to gaming. So that court case was like really long because they both had good points, but at the end of the day, I was kind of mad that it didn't have the frame buffer room that I thought it did. I was running dual monitors. It wasn't as fast as I thought it was. Then again, I bought it based on FPS reports in actual reality, not based on some specs and me extrapolating how good I think it should perform. So as a member of the class, if I wasn't a member of the class and I was the one suing, I should have lost that just on those grounds alone. But okay, I'll take my check for $60 per card. I got a check for $120 or whatever it was. Fast forward to the FX 6300, 6350s, 8 series, the 8350s, all those chips, where turns out you can't just call thread processors cores if they're not physical cores. And then years later, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years later, AMD lost in court, and even Windows itself, if you have an FX 6300, it will say 3 cores, 6 logical thread processing units, like in Task Manager. Like, even they were forced to say this was the result of the lawsuit. They are lying. This is not a 6-core CPU. They were lying when they said that. And they absolutely were. 100% were. They were just like, well, that's how we define a core. Well, that's not how I define a core, so pay me. I bought like 4 of those. Every computer a friend or family member asked me to build had like an FX 6300 in it, because that was like hot shit back then. So those are 2 where it was like, it was shaky. It wasn't really on purpose, or was it? And then after a long drawn out legal battle, the courts were like, no, you really did misrepresent the product in our opinion, and you're going to have to pay the difference in value which is like, we've estimated this much per chip because it's this much slower than what people would have anticipated or whatever. So with this one, they said it comes with one die. It came with a different one. There is a noticeable, distinct, provable market difference, but with 6 boosters in the pre-release kit and it being priced lower than the cost of 6 boosters, how the hell are you going to say what the die is worth? $1, $2 production cost? I mean, average retail amount of the dice that haven't launched yet and don't have an established retail amount? I mean, everybody would be lucky who bought one of these to get $5-10 per pack. I mean, it'd be nice if it was 10, but let me just say, one, the lawyer's probably going to try and tack on legal fees if they go class action with this. And two, I have bought and sold a lot of dice, a lot of old dice, a lot of dice collections. I've seen other people's dice collections. I've been shopping for dice. I've looked up values for old dice. Go look up what those transparent ones from, Tarkir? Go look what those are worth on eBay, like right now. It's probably about $15 a die for like a bundle that costs like, what, $30? And you got 80 full art lands sealed? And those full art land packs were going for about $14 on eBay at the time? Wait a minute, 15 for the die, 15 for the land pack. You just got 9 free boosters. So remember when I bought like 72 cases of the like 2018, 2019, whatever it was, Christmas gift packs at a discount from my distributor? Because like I said, when I smell blood, I pounce. When people see what's going on and there's an opportunity to make money, they jump on it. This die that I put up on screen, bare minimum 6 months from now is going to be $15. I absolutely assure you of that. I've been in the dice game selling D20s long enough to tell you that this is the best looking D20 they've ever made, and the second best one is selling for more than 15. Older ones, I mean, I've seen $50, $100 a die. I mean, you get some dice from way back when. You can get some mad dollars for them. There are buy list prices for some of these dice. No joke. You just click on other on like, I was going to say Card Kingdom, I don't think they do it. Maybe Troll and Toad. I think for sure Channel Fireball does this. And they're like sealed token packs from Kaladesh. Is that who did the sealed token packs? I don't remember. I have a ton of them. And also they're not buying them, and that's a bad example. But they'll have dice, they'll have spin downs, they'll have punch out cards. I mean, who knows? But yeah, like there is a market for dice, and I'm telling you, this is the best made, best looking die I have ever seen. I wouldn't even be surprised if they hit 20 or $25. So while the one in the pre-release kit, they said themselves would be smaller, and that is true, it is always a smaller D20 because they made the ones in the bundles bigger a couple years ago. With the production numbers, they may also be rarer. And so people just think, oh, why would I not want the bigger one? It's a cool looking thing and I want it to be bigger so I can show it off easier. But other people might say, you know, the ones in the pre-release kits are more rare because people are more inclined to buy one than sit on them. So there's less floating around. And I don't know, in theory, less were printed. I don't know. I'd almost think there's more pre-release kits made than bundles, but I don't know. But either way, like, I mean, if you're going to get a bundle at distributor cost, which is like, I think like $24, and you're going to have a die worth like $25, let's just say people probably called up the local stores and said, can you hold a case of 40 of these or 32 of these or 30 or whatever it is of the pre-release kits? I'll take them. And then they buy them all and find out that none of them have a worthwhile die in it. They have a 50-cent bulk, just garbage colored generic blah, who cares die. I mean, even at $10 a die, how much money did they just lose? $300? Somebody's calling up their lawyer, okay? Not to mention the people like Rudy who will call up the distributor, you know, the day after the pretend pre-release that never happened and be like, hey, you know how like a couple percent, 1, 2, 3% of stores, you try and run their credit card before you send out the pre-release kits and their credit card fails and it turns out they're going out of business, can't pay for them and you're not going to ship them, now you're stuck with them? So now you have like 1,000 pre-release kits? Yeah, sell them to me. I'll take them. I mean, you obviously want to liquidate them. Pre-release is already gone. You want to get rid of these. These are a toxic asset. Yeah, I'll take them. I'll take 1,000 of them. You think that person's not going to call their damn lawyer when they open them up and find out, oh, these aren't the dice I was expecting? There goes my entire profit margin. Whoops. Trust me, the majority of people buying these in large quantities are buying them for the spin downs. And now they're not in there. This is huge. People are losing hundreds or thousands of dollars. So if there is a giant ongoing year-long litigation battle that is the class action lawsuit over the stupid false marketing for a D20, because once again, Wizards can't get their shit together and can't get their employees and contractors and manufacturers on the same damn page, or customer support apparently. Boy, that'd be more embarrassing than expensive. I mean, you just sit there and cut out a bunch of checks for $5 to everybody, which is probably what the court will determine the die was worth out of that pack. Pay the lawyers $100,000 fees for labor. Pay all the court fees. Pay the people to mail the checks out. They better do what they did with the flawed secret layers, where they made people agree to a shady little agreement. This was secret lair related, right? Where they were like, oh, we'll send you a full sheet of uncut mythics or whatever. And people are like, oh, okay, that's cool. I'll take that. But then you sign away your rights to sue them. You agree that this is proper compensation for what happened. I am not going to seek additional recourse or whatever for whatever. Like, I'm sure that was in there. I didn't read it, but everybody told me that was in the terms. Oh, that was in secret lairs. That was their bungled Ultimate Edition thing or whatever that was on eBay. Or no, that was the first one. Well, I don't know. They screwed up like all of them ever, and then cut it off and made Secret Lair. But they were afraid that those people would sue them, and they did, actually. For the eBay one, they did, and for the first one, they got most of the people to settle for an uncut sheet. If I'm even remembering this correctly, they screwed it up so many times. When their site crashed, and then they billed their people's credit cards 9 times, and then said all 9 of them are refunded, screw you, you get nothing. And then they're like, whoopsies, can we send you a sheet? And then some of them, they sent them a toothbrush instead. I mean, if you didn't hear about this story, I'm probably butchering it, but my God. So yeah, the second time around, the eBay people who were like, I was counting on this to make a profit margin, which it turns out is not a valid reason to sue them in court. They lost, but they got that class action shit together real quick. I mean, real quick. There's lawyers that do nothing but defective product and large corporation class action lawsuits. They specialize in it. They're good at it. They know how to handle it, and they know how to keep it fast and cheap. They know how to pressure the company. And they took this one because it had a chance, but they didn't end up winning, unfortunately. I said from the get-go, it's a very shaky 50-50 with what I know about legal stuff. So that was a real shame. So a little news update. Yeah, they lost that one a couple weeks ago. But this one, there's no getting out of this one. If this goes to court, like I said, it'll be in and out of court the same damn day. I mean, there is no defense for this. You said it comes with this. You described it. Here's a picture. It didn't. They're worth a ton. Here's the active sales prices, because by the time it goes to court, it'll be a month from now, and they'll be on eBay. Pay the people, send the checks, treble it, pay my lawyer's fees, done. I mean, what's there left to do? Like I said, treble it by proving it was willful. It was willful scamming of the customers. It wasn't willful. Wizards is just that incompetent. Yeah, so I mean, this will be very interesting to see what happens, because people aren't just pissed because they feel entitled. They aren't pissed because they were confused. They aren't pissed because of an assumption that turned out to be false, and the Wizards clarified it and said, oh, well, no, this is like big time know what they're doing Magic investors dumping thousands of dollars into something that did not contain the number one most valuable item. This is actually huge. So it'll be interesting to see when the lawsuit gets started, because it'll literally be within a couple weeks from what I know, or if Wizards absolutely scrambles to compensate these people in some way. What I would do, if they really want to make this tidy and make everybody agree to this without suing them, just say, okay, file a complaint, take a picture of your empty pre-release thing or the code that was in it, or a pile of them, an invoice, send us whatever, and we'll do our best to verify it, and then we will mail you one or more of the dice. We'll have a second run of them at the factory, expect it within 90 days, and then sign this thing that says you're good with that, because then you'd be giving people exactly what you didn't give them in the first place. You can't possibly think people would be like, no, I'm still going to sue you because I want my $7 or whatever. They would actually lose in court because they were offered compensation equal to or identical to what they are damaged by. The defect, what it was missing. So you can't just say no and sue them anyway because, oh, you want to cause them legal fees. That would get shot down real quick, and then Wizards would actually collect their legal fees from you. So if that's you thinking you're going to do that, don't do that. But that's assuming Wizards tries to make this right instead of just hiding, not talking about it, and trying to brush it all under the rug, which is what they do about 75% of the time. So soon as the lawyers' letters start coming out, they might come out of the woodwork and be like, we're going to compensate everybody. But with what a legal shitstorm this is, honestly, I hate to say this because this actually kind of is not the most legal thing in the world, but if you now knowingly and willfully know that it doesn't contain what they said it does, and then go out and buy a bunch of them just to get included in the lawsuit or the compensation plan, if you were to go out and do that right now, today, that might work out a little bit lucratively to you. That's all I'm saying. I'm also saying that you will have to sign something that's, perjury if you lie on it that says I was not aware that this was not part of the product. Because if you say I knowingly, willfully bought it anyway, even though I knew it didn't contain the right dye, guess who doesn't get compensated? But, hey, you do you, just saying. But yeah, this is going to turn into an even bigger cluster than it already is. Trust me, this is not going to go away. So, have fun with the lawsuit, WOTC. You deserve it for saying, let's make these cool dice smaller. And then somebody probably emailing back from the factory, we can't do that in time or at all or make them smaller. Is it okay if we send a normal die? Yeah, sure. And then they sent an email, hey, they're doing the normal die. Can you update the spec list so that people don't see the old wording? And then the person whose job that is was like, yeah, hold on. I'll update it as soon as I'm done bitching at people on Twitter about Trump. And then their job never got done, or because they hired some unqualified dumbass because of the spray painted color of their hair. And they don't take their job seriously and are underqualified and didn't even graduate college. Or they have a feminist dance degree, which apparently does not let you avoid lawsuits. It lets you actually cause them, which is why you shouldn't hire those people. Or maybe instead of doing their job, they took the day off as an emotional day because they needed to go protest because they're so emotionally distraught. I can virtually guarantee it was something like that. I mean, you know how the Wizards employees are. Their whole company doesn't communicate. It's a bunch of little distinct groups. Nothing gets done properly, and they constantly screw up. They're constantly wrong about everything. Their quality standards are down the toilet. Their translations are garbage. Their card quality is garbage. Their production department is pissed about the quality of the ink. It's inconsistent. Where it gets printed is inconsistent. Release dates were moved. Secret Lair shipping dates were exaggerated or lied about. Their whole company is just like a walking disaster. So shocker, they're probably about to get sued again unless they scramble to compensate everybody and apologize again for a very avoidable thing. If something as basic as what comes in the box for one of your major product releases that's only 4 times a year was listed accurately on their damn website. How hard could it be? And I guarantee you a grand total of 0 people are going to get fired over this, and they're going to keep making the same lazy, stupid, careless mistakes over and over and over like they always have. So, hey, if you can go back to the store where you bought these, get them to reprint the receipt, the invoice. If you want to take a snapshot of the credit card or debit card transaction that says, I spent this much this day at this store, and then they'll just have to take your word for it that you bought it that day. Whatever Wizards is going to request or the class action lawsuit is going to request as proof, you need to get that now. So get on that. Honestly, I would advise that if you were going to pick up one of these pre-release kits specifically for the dice, that you don't do it because they're not in it, and pick up a bundle instead, which in theory will have the correct die. I say in theory because who the knows? Maybe the dice were just a myth. Maybe they never existed. Who knows? But anyway, thanks for watching. Spread the word, and I'll see you guys next video.